Langevin. There's just a couple of names that you really need to know to understand what's happening here in Virginia. The two big ones are Michael Bloomberg and Ralph Northam. Ralph Northam is our governor. He's very liberal. Michael Bloomberg is a very well-known former mayor of New York City, and also he is a billionaire news magnate. He's responsible for Bloomberg Media, which employs a great deal of people. And if you look carefully in the video, you may see a gecko jumping about. Michael Bloomberg is the definition of an ivory tower billionaire liberal. He believes that he knows best for everybody, and this isn't just because of his very strong anti-gun policy, but because while he was mayor of New York, he literally tried to ban the size of sodas. He didn't want New Yorkers drinking sodas that were more than 16 ounces. That's not a joke. You can't have that. That soda's too big. It's too much Coca-Cola. I know what's best for you. That's essentially Michael Bloomberg. Now, after he stopped being mayor, he decided to get more heavily involved in politics. And certainly, like the Koch brothers, for conservatives, used his money to sway as much as he could. And he's been very effective. But he's been smart about it, in that rather than trying to win big federal elections, he decided to invest an unprecedented amount of money in Virginia state elections. Virginia, like Texas, is very complicated. While there's a majority of one particular party or bent, the state itself is far more purple than it is red or blue, and that expressed itself in the most recent Virginia state elections, which for the first time in a very long time swung in favor of the Democrats, who now control the state attorney general, the governor's house, and the Virginia state legislature. Now, this is just theory, but it is believed that Ralph Northam, our governor, is in the pocket of Michael Bloomberg, literally. We know for a fact that Michael Bloomberg has donated, again, more money than has ever been seen in Virginia state elections, not only directly to Ralph Northam and other Virginia liberals who are running, but through his anti-gun organization, Everytown for Gun Safety. They also donated, I think, just that organization alone donated $2.5 million to various Virginia state candidates. These numbers are usually in the hundreds of thousands, not the millions, and certainly not coming from one man. And it worked. He was able to buy the house. Now, the reason why this is important, and the reason why we think he might have literally bought Ralph, old Ralphie, is because Ralphie's yearbook photo is him in blackface next to a dude in a KKK outfit. Like, old Ralphie, ironically, despite the fact that he's a liberal Democrat, is probably one of the most documented racist pieces of shit out there. But again, he's liberal, so it doesn't count. And maybe because of that mistake, that faux pas coming to light, the Democrats, rather than shitting all over him, decided that they could use that and use his position to further a particular agenda that they might not have been able to otherwise. That part is theory. The picture is not. You're welcome to Google it. It'll come up quick. So, as a result, all of these people that essentially have their house, their position, because of Michael Bloomberg, are now actively pushing his anti-gun agenda, and it is the most draconian anti-gun agenda that has ever been seen in the United States. It would ban private shooting ranges, it would ban the teaching of anybody under the age of 21, and it would hold liable any teacher that taught anybody that ended up doing a criminal act anytime ever for the rest of their life. So if I taught a young man how to shoot, and in his 50s he had a domestic violence issue, I could be held liable according to some of these laws. This is not exaggeration. You can look up the bills SB 16, SB 18, and SB 64, which very clearly outline it. Furthermore, Ralph Northam has decided that not only that, but it would ban what the left calls assault rifles. That's great. Or any assault weapon. Now, this is a weapon that can, at any point in time, take a larger magazine, even if it wasn't designed to come from that, or to use said magazine from the factory. Doesn't matter. If there's an aftermarket mod that can go into that gun, then that gun is illegal. And his His laws actually called for an active confiscation, not a buyback, by the way, confiscation. Furthermore, the bills, when they were passed, also some of which have already passed, the bills also increased the corrections facilities budgets for the state so that he could afford to house all the people that he was going to have to arrest when he came for their guns, literally coming for your guns. And obviously a lot of Virginians didn't like that. For clarity, the two people I know that have the largest personal collections of firearms are either straight liberal Democrat or, in one case, independent. They're not Republicans, actually. And that goes to show you that the Old Dominion here in Virginia has a very bipartisan firearms culture, the oldest firearms culture in the United States. And that going after this is by no means representing the will of the people or even all of his own constituents. It is strictly a Michael Bloomberg push. So he's pushing through an assault weapons ban, a confiscation, increasing the budget so he can arrest everybody and put them in jail. All of this at the behest of Michael Bloomberg. And Jerry Connolly, this sack of shit, who's actually in the federal Congress as a representative for the state of Virginia, literally said that they should activate the National Guard to arrest all of the sheriffs, and this is where it gets good, that have openly refused to enforce the ban and confiscation order. And there's 96 counties or districts in the in Virginia, and at least 91 of the counties, and I think actually if you count counties and cities, there's been over 100 counties and cities that have declared themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries. The sheriffs and law enforcement have actively said we're not gonna obey that law, and so Jerry Connolly said, well, fuck, activate the National Guard so you can go take them by force, which of course is not really how the National Guard works. But it's a serious threat. I've talked to a lot of law enforcement officers. I serve coffee for a living, as you know, and I get to talk to quite a few of them, and none of them are too happy about it. So now, tomorrow, Monday the 20th, is what's called Lobby Day. We're going to be lobbying for our Second Amendment rights. Ralph Northam actually declared a state of emergency because he knew that thousands of people were going to be protesting. He declared a state of emergency that he could specifically ban firearms from the Capitol grounds in Richmond temporarily. Okay, fine, fucker. We're still going to be there. And that's the deal. A lot of people are going to protest this, and I can tell you a lot of people that I know, both here in the state of West Virginia, the state of Kentucky, and even some of our friends in Texas, have straight said that if they try to pull this shit, that they will be here in a day. Within the firearms community, some people think the boogaloo is coming, and you live on a boat, so you have no idea what that is. But the boogaloo, or the boog, is when the government finally overreaches and violence is necessary. Which it damn well may be. Damn well may be. But I can tell you, the very same law enforcement officers and National Guardsmen that he thinks are going to enact these laws are not happy about it. And I doubt it's going to pan out the way old Ralphie wants to.